I thought about God. What would it be like to play with God? So I go in and I'm dropping footballs all over the place, doing actual games. Now doing practice, I was fine, but I wanted to impress Montana, I wanted to impress Bill Walsh, I wanted to impress my teammates, so I put pressure on myself to execute. And I remember Bill Walsh telling me this. Bill told me, he said, look, we see it during practice. He said, one day you're going to be considered as the greatest football player to ever play the game. Now I'm dropping footballs, and I don't see this. And you know, I hear from Montana, like, okay, just keep working hard. I hear from Ronnie Lott. I hear about, you know, from all of these great players. And for him to say you're going to be one of the greatest football players to ever play the game, coming from Mississippi boy, you know, it's just, you know, it's something, it blows me away today because I actually got a chance to play with some of the greatest football players to ever play the game. And I never looked at it like it was a job. It was fun for me every day, even those 2-a-day practices. Now, Joe can attest to this. A lot of players, they want to practice 2-a-days. They didn't want to go full pass or anything like that. I wanted that because that got me ready for the season. Now I can go and play my best football. Also, I can give the fans what they paid for. So I took a lot of pride in that too, because if you came to a football game, I wanted you to witness something special on that given day. Where you walk out of that stadium and you say, oh my God, did you see exactly what just happened? How did he do that? But we have done that over and over during practice. And the standard was everything. We had the greatest owner ever, with Eddie DeBarlo, Carmen Policy, the vice president. Then, you add in the greatest coach ever, Bill Walsh, and everything was history.
We're going to go past this because you're now talking about beyond culture, but you're talking about the contribution that you bring from your position. But what I want to talk about, these people are dealing with everything coming back from COVID, people getting back into their regular work routines. And so there's going to be some shifts with respect to how they work. You're in the business and have been in the business of dealing with contexts that change all the time. So I wanted some thoughts on the idea of change. You come to the line of scrimmage, and the way I see it is you're trying to accomplish three things. You're trying to discern threats, call plays to give you the best chance to beat that threat, and then you execute the play. But what percentage of the time when you go to the line of scrimmage, things don't line up with what you want to be lined up as the play? And then what was your mindset about handling change?
Well, as I alluded to a little bit earlier, was the fact that everything was built in. So there was only a little bit if something had to be really different, that to take that away and make you change the play at the line of scrimmage. And well, I always had the freedom to go, if you see something and you like, just take it. But I did it only when I felt it was necessary. So I really didn't lean. I leaned on the system as much as I could until I had to make a change. And that all came through the preparation of what I learned from Bill. Because Bill didn't want you. He wanted you to be perfect. He didn't said if you're striving to be mediocre and you miss, you're not going to be on this team very long. And he wanted you to come out every day and complete 100% of your passes. He wanted the ball thrown 12 inches in front of the numbers when guys are running across the field. He wanted you to throw to the opposite number of well, because guy runs a hook, he's looking at you, you can see the defender, he can't. When you see the defender coming from this side, I want you to throw the ball to this number and this shoulder. So you tell the receiver to turn that direction. He wanted you to be specific, almost hand the ball to the receivers. But the system really took care of a lot of that for me. I would say maybe 30% on the high side. But a lot of that probably came from specific teams like Philadelphia or someone who were known for pressure. And with teams that would pressure us, you change the plays a lot more often. But when they just lined up and tried to play us, it was everything was built into the system. And I think that was one of the reasons I had so much success with his offense, is that I understood what he was asking for. I was his kind of conduit to being on the field if he was on the field. Because I didn't try to force balls, I tried to. Did I miss some open guys? Absolutely. I probably did, missed a lot. Jerry will say I missed him a lot. But I let the system take care of what we were doing, and I just tried to work within that and with the tools that I was given and the understanding of that play. So,
Well, I look at it like this, guys. This guy right here, we had such a great chemistry. If he was a female, I would have dated him. I'll be honest with you. Because we were on the same page.
well, you dance too well for me.
Yeah, I know the system, dictated everything, but when I came to the line of scrimmage, I was just like the quarterback. I'm reading the defense. I know if it's man-to-man. I know if it's, zone. If it's man-to-man, all I have to do is beat my defender. If I can't defeat my, defender, being supposed to be this really talented receiver, you don't deserve to be on the field. Because all I have to do is beat that guy. So when I came to the line, I knew exactly what was happening, and I knew that I just had to get open, and I knew that Montana, that he was going to throw me the football, and we were going to score. And I used to tell him all the time that I'm always open. No matter what, even if
Never
there's
met a wide receiver that wasn't open. Oh, there's only 3 guys on you, Jerry. No problem. I'll squeeze it in there for you.
Well, hey, one thing about this guy, he never hung me out to dry. And what I mean about that is, he always positioned the ball in a spot where I could make the catch and I could defend myself.
Well, see, now wait a minute. The interconnectivity, that's a big thing right there. I don't want to stop you, I'm going to keep you going, but that capacity to have a sense of fraternal commitment to someone that's working with you, not in a silo, but understanding how the disparate parts work in unison with one another, and where does that come from? How do you nurture and develop that sense of commitment to someone that you know is not going to hang you out to dry? It's so accurate, so focused, the preparation comes in the details. How do you nurture that?
That preparation comes from practice. And we had a certain standard with the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, you stepped on that practice field, it was like a game situation. The execution had to be precise. Now, because you have done this over and over during practice, when you go into a football game, it's automatic. You have done it. So when you guys see those exceptional catches and the way we... Now, if you don't have good practice habits, now all of a sudden you go into a game and you say, okay, hey guys, let's do it. Or someone try to step up and try to be that leader. And because you haven't been that leader during the week and stuff like that, it's a whole different story. The player's not going to listen to you. You have to earn that. And that was something that we did during practice.
I think a lot of it for the quarterback and receivers is a lot of it's communication, right? And as I said, Bill built those things in. For the wide receiver, like Jerry's saying, he had to read the defense at the same time. And our communication, his communication to me was to be, I'm going to run the route, and I am going to make a decision whether it's man-to-man or zone, and I'm not going to look at you until once I look at you, I've made my decision. So if I'm going to sit down, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to look at you. If I'm going to keep running, I'm going to start running, and then I'm going to look at you while I'm running, going to telling me he's going to keep running. Then I make the decision whether he made the right decision or not. Because sometimes, the defenses, they're not as simple as they tend to look. So they can be man-to-man on one side, or they can be zone on the other side of it. And so as you're coming across, and then people do crazy things and change defenses. Like, where I'm going.
I mean, defensive end buzzing to the floor.
We went, I almost killed Ronaldo Neymar. And I pride myself in never setting somebody up. And because we run so many crossing routes, we play Atlanta twice every year. I forget the defensive coordinator's name there at the time. He was crazy. They were as dirty as they came. But they started this thing where we were talking about, the receiver makes a decision and I make another decision. So they were playing 2 deep safeties and bumping around man-to-man on the outside. And if you release to the outside, usually the defender, if he's playing zone, will push the guy with his hand and then turn and look inside. This time the guy ran with the corner, and usually when they turn to run means man-to-man underneath. And I let that ball go and I go, oh shit. The guy, after about 7 yards, he spun around and turned around back, and he was dead on straight to Ronaldo. And the first thing that hit was the back of Ronaldo's shoulder pads and helmet on the ground. Honestly, I thought I hurt him bad. And that's the kind of thing that I was just talking to Jerry, brought it up, is that I go, the only time I will ever put you in harm's way intentionally is if we are in the end zone and we need to touch down to win the game. And then free game. I'll apologize later after. I'll say, I'm sorry, I'll come help you out.
And I remember that from Super Bowl 24, guys, against the Denver Broncos. He hit me, I think I had a Dino route, he hit me over the middle, and I saw the ball coming, I saw the defender coming, and I just knew I had to make that catch. So I made the catch, and I got the wind knocked out of me. And my teammates, they ran to pick me up, and they said,
it was in the end zone.
I didn't blame Montana. My teammates, they ran to pick me up, and I couldn't breathe. They said, are you okay? I said, no, I'm not okay. But I took that one for the team. But what Joe was saying is that a lot of things happen on the snap of the ball. Because a lot of times, I don't know if it's man-to-man or if it's zone until I get into my route. Now I have to make a decision as I'm running, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what the defense is doing to me. So if I'm unsure about what defense it is, I better sit down. Because if not, the quarterback might throw you the ball and you might take that big shot. So those are the things that I worked on during practice. I made sure I was prepared the right way, whenever I stepped onto the football field. I never wanted to take any time off during practice because I felt I needed those reps to get me ready for that football game. Now, once that football game is happening, I know exactly what the defense is doing, and I know what I have to do to be successful on the field.
So what I get out of that is complexity in preparation, simplicity in execution. As you alluded to, let the system work for you. If you've got a nice infrastructure, it's designed well from the beginning. It's really a matter about running the play. So when I saw you today, first thing I did was brown right change, A left, 2 jet flanker drive. Mm-hmm. That modular structure could literally have a player that's never run that play before running the corner route or whatever it is. Yeah.
That was the beauty of the offense, but it evolved a little bit over time because you kept making changes to it. But it was those things where you have to. A lot of it comes trust. You trust in each other. We work so much together that it becomes body language. I know where he's going. I've got traded to Kansas City, and we're getting ready to play Denver. And we're watching the Super Bowl tape. And Paul Hackett, who was my quarterback coach in San Francisco during the '84 Super Bowl and a couple other years, was now in Kansas City. And he is a tricky devil. He invites me over to his house for dinner. This was my first trip in Kansas City. He goes, okay, we're done with dinner. He goes, okay, come with me. I'm going, oh no, here we go. Turns on the projector. He goes, this looks like 22ZN. I go, yes, it is, where Jerry's supposed to run a hook. He goes, well, Jerry's running a post. And you look like you hit him in stride, like you knew what he was going to do. And I go, yeah, I did. well, was he supposed to run a post? I go, no, he wasn't supposed to run a post. But he had beat his defender, and instead of running the hook, he gives me a little hand, tells me this is where I'm going. The way I get a big completion down the field. I don't remember if it was a touchdown. He goes, okay,
everything is a touchdown. Everything is a touchdown. Every time I would touch the ball, it's a touchdown. That's it. Let's get that straight right now, okay?
Well, it's pretty close.
We're on the same page? Pretty close. All right.
Pretty close.
What if life is like this in the context of business? Within the silos or the departments that you're in, that you move one step beyond just communication to something more complex called connectivity. It's communication plus. It's on steroids, where there's a context that's created where you're
trust, accountability, and I'm thinking leadership. Because that's really what football is all about. I mean, you have to earn it on the football field. My teammates, they trusted in me that I could make that play to win the game. But I had done this over and over during practice, so they knew that I could get it done. Now, you look at the offensive line, you look at the running backs, all of these guys, we all work together, one heartbeat. And that's how you win, that's how you win championships, that's how you win football games.
And that accountability is a big piece.
Accountability is everything, everything. In sports, in business, in everything. That's what it's all about.
So what does that look like? I don't know about it in business context. I mean, I'm in business, and so I do demonstrate it with some measure of empathy and some measure of respectability. But give us some more ideas on how we do that. Hold someone accountable. I'll give you an example real quick. I first got there in San Francisco, and I remember just like it was yesterday. Bobo, Ronnie Rock, comes over to me, and he said this. I never forget it. I wish cultures had this. One of the most, I'm going to say violent, but intentionally strategic players that you ever want to meet. I know he's godparent to your children. He's a lovely guy, but will knock your you-know-what and put it in your watch pocket. He's very good. And he said, 2-3, you've been here for a month, yet you ain't told nobody. Woo. Not correct English, right? That night, I think it was that week, I had a 91-yard touchdown run against Seattle in the preseason thing.
And I was blocking for you, right?
You were blocking for me. I was blocking for you. So my idea was the way
no, there ain't no way you would have blocked.
The idea was he was willing to confront me. And what he said to me was, Roger's the number one guy. If he goes down, you need to be ready to step in and do that. And to be able to have that kind of culture where people are willing to hold you accountable, I think that's one of the most important things that business is missing at that level. Because he didn't do it embarrassing. He was very discreet with it. But the capacity to confront those things are important. So just
20 years of football, guys. 20 years of football. I was late for a meeting once, 15 minutes. That's accountability. Always the first one on the field, last one to leave the field. That's accountability. In the weight room, it's the same thing. In the meeting rooms, it's the same thing. So you lead by example. And once you build that relationship with your teammates, that's how you build a championship team. Because they know that you're reliable and that you're going to give 100%. So 15 minutes, and I was really, can I be honest with you? I was, is there any kids in here or no? I was fucking pissed off because I was 15 minutes late. I don't like being late. I like to be on time. I like to be early for everything. And I think my teammates, they will follow.
I never was late. I like my money too much. That's right. The fine system was like, I think you have a grace period of, was it 5 minutes or 10, and then you get fined and it's one number or whatever, 10,000 or whatever, and then every minute after that you get fined. So, I'm sitting in there early. On in here.
So you got the culture, you got all the championships. Both you guys have been in a distinct role as not just MVPs of the game or Super Bowl, but of the league. I mean, it's amazing. You hold in your respective positions almost every material at one point or another, every material record that could be held. And I know the game has changed a great deal, but what you did in that Camelot era was unbelievable. So the accolades come. What is it like, since you got the mic over Joe, what is it like to be a part of a Hall of Fame fraternity when you've reached the pinnacle in that area?
You know, honestly, in the first, when they first I got voted in, it was kind of, I was excited, and disappointed at the same time. Not that you couldn't unretire, but it felt like to me initially, like, okay, let's put the nails in the coffin, he's out of here. And until I went, when I got to Canton, and you go to one of the luncheons, and you're with all the guys, and you realize that you've just become a part of the greatest team ever assembled if you could get them all on the field. And then I started to look at it differently. But it took a little bit to get used to, because in all honesty, if it wasn't for the concussion I got in my last season, I would have kept going. I didn't feel like I was ready to quit, but yeah, the concussion was the first, I don't know how many I had, to be honest with you, but this one hurt. This one hurt, yeah. I mean, it was like lightning going from one side of my head to the other. And it was a simple thing. I was getting tackled, and as I got knocked down, I hit Bruce Smith knee on the side of my helmet. And that was it. And I was like, looking at my kids going, wow, I want to make sure I'm somewhat healthy when I leave this game to be able to go out and play and participate and do things with them. And so that, after getting through that, and I started to look at it different. We had a lot of getting fun with the guys, and all of the stories got bigger and bigger, especially in that room, right? Because you look at some of the greatest players that ever played the game. So, and then I always felt honored to be a part of it, but it was just a little funny in the beginning for me. Just maybe because of how I ended my career, I felt like I probably, after I retired, I was like, I should have kept going. We had a good team in Kansas City, and
So
would have been fun.
Is it the pursuit? What was the reward for you?
The only way I can say is I wish everyone could play one Sunday afternoon. Win or lose, just to feel the adrenaline rushes, the ups and the downs of every game, the excitement, the camaraderie that happens, whether you on the field, in the locker room, practice, whatever it is, there's something really, really special about it. And you make the greatest friends you'll ever have in your lifetime there. And it's just a stupid, fun game to play. I don't know if I can say any more than that. It's just, I played total in my life 31 years, including starting at 8 years old. And it was hard to quit cold turkey, right? There's no sick in over football league.
You can joke and tease about it. It says it's a stupid game, but it's really not. Let me tell you, I've studied this game from top to bottom. I know where you're coming from, but football is an archetypical experience unlike any other. And it mirrors what happens in the drama of life in the very strictest sense of the definition. That was one thing that Bill Walsh wanted to tell me when he invited me to the early game. He says, you must understand the red zone is not so much a place on the field as much as it is a set of circumstances conceptually, where the need to achieve an objective is immediate, the obstacles between you and those objectives are formidable, the options available to you are limited, and time is running out. And he said that's the context that we're dealing with every single day in business and in life. And if you can master the process for how to succeed in that context, you will have the formula for life. That seems like what you've done in spades.
Hey, you just did a commercial for unretirement. I think Montana's gonna be great. Hey guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, look, it's just like this, all right? I think I can still play. To be honest. Because right here, this is start, watch this. You see this right here? See that explosion right there? You see that, Montana? You see that? You see that right there? You see that?
Can you help me up?
I was just getting ready to say we need to come out of retirement, Joe.
I got too many new parts in me now.
campaign for me, guys. I'm serious. I went in with Emmitt Smith. And when we got the announcement, 2 grown men started crying. It's the ultimate group to go into. But it's just like what Joe said too, because now you know your career is completely over. But to watch the legends and to be a part of that, and to have your peers to vote on it and vote you in, is something I will never forget. And also, Eddie DeMarlo, he introduced me. The greatest owner ever. You know, he introduced me. I'll never forget that. Now, doing my speech, I'm just trying not to mess it up. Because, hey Joe, even Joe knows this, that there's bets going on who's gonna cry during their speech. So I'm trying to fight this like crazy and not cry, but you know, it's something I would never forget, and man, because I never thought I was one of the best players to ever play the game or anything like that. And to get honored that way, it's just unforgettable. And the players that I have played with, the relationships that I have built, you know, sometimes I have to pinch myself. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Because coming from Mississippi, I never thought, you know, I would get the chance to play professional football. Then think about this, Mississippi Valley State University, then you got Notre Dame. Joe Montana probably took a pay cut to come to the NFL. We didn't have that at Mississippi Valley State University, I'm telling you.
I think you're talking about Ronnie.
Ronnie too, from USC. We're talking about major schools, but from Mississippi Valley State, you know, predominant black school, HBCU, and I get a chance to play the greatest game ever, professional football, with the greatest fans, with the greatest teammates, for 20 years.
I mean,
That's amazing.
To be able to be relevant for 20 years in the National Football League. Somebody said the NFL actually stands for not for long. That's what it stands for. So that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
So in the aggregate, you know, we got about 7 minutes here. Then I want you guys to kind of unpack.
That's it?
Yeah, about 7 minutes. And I
Oh
took
my
most
God.
of the time up. You're still mad at me because I did a monologue out here when I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, but I'm gonna ask you to do something at the end.
What's
for me.
that?
I'm not gonna say anything.
All right, as long as we do it within 7:30.
Okay, all right, okay.
All right, we'll do that. Okay. All right. So when you met one another, I know you said you had the drops, but you know, at the time. Well, listen.
I mean,
Why are we talking about the drops right now? Because there was 1,549 receptions, 22,000 280 touchdowns, 13 Pro Bowls,
Production, I get it.
37 records.
Yes.
I'm just joking.
No, you're not joking. I'd be proud of it too.
Go ahead, Joe.
you know my stats.
Oh, no, I don't know your stats.
How many of those are my touchdowns?
Hey, we might be forever if you go through those stats.
I think, you know, as soon as there was a difference as soon as you walk on the field from the receivers that we had by far. And so you knew, even though I joke about the drops and all that, it's just in jest, but honestly, it was fun to play with and fun to be a part of because, I don't know, he has this crazy ability to get behind the defense. Now, I always tell people, I just don't understand it. I'm watching Jerry, even after I retire, I go, how many times is he going to run to the post? And the safety is going to bite. If I'm playing Jerry Rice, I tell my safety, if you get beat on a post by Jerry Rice, you just keep running. And go change your clothes and go home. But he has this crazy ability, to, not just on the post, but to get behind the defense. I don't know how fast he is, like time-wise, Probably not the fastest one. I don't think by far. I don't think you're going to outrun who's the defensive back from Washington. From Washington.
Harold Green. Come on, go ahead, Joe. Hey, I feel like this is a roast right now. Joe, are you roasting me right now?
I'm just saying, you'll say that. You're not going to lose a lot of foot races, but I might even be able to outrun you every now and then. But I'm just kidding. But he has this ability to get behind you no matter what. No matter, even if you know where he's going, he finds a way to get it done. And it was a privilege playing for him. I always joke with him, tell him he came along too late in my career, and he had to share it with that other guy that played after me. I can't remember his name. But no, it was fun. It was fun being a part of it. I mean, the only bad part was John Taylor. John Taylor, if Jerry Rice isn't here, John Taylor was probably Jerry Rice. Yeah. But it'd be hard because you're dropping back and you're running double comebacks and going, oh man, I can throw JT. Ah, shit, Jerry Rice. And I look over there and JT's wide open.
That's funny.
That's JT, what's it like playing with Jerry Rice? And I'm just running for my health.
Oh boy.
JT catches the touchdown to win in the Super Bowl, right? Totally no idea he had one catch.
He only had one catch.
Yeah, he had one catch.
And that was the winning score.
One catch, I was blown away. He had one catch.
All because, listen here, let me break this down. Okay, so all of a sudden, I get the opportunity to be Denzel Washington. I'm going for that Oscar. Everybody in the stadium, the Bengals, they're thinking the ball is coming to Jerry Rice. I come in motion, and I'm just being Denzel right now. And all of a sudden, I hear the crowd just start cheering. I knew that John Taylor had scored the winning touchdown. But I get asked this all the time. They say, did you feel bad about not making that catch? I feel like I made that catch. Because we were that type of team. You know, we pull for each other. And I was happy to see John Taylor make that catch. And also, Super Bowl 23, let me give you guys a little story behind that. Because this guy comes into the huddle. We got about 3 minutes, 10 seconds left in the game.
We got 2:46.
Okay, thanks for reminding me. Okay, so, Joe, there's something said about John Candy being in the stands, the actor. And we got 3 minutes, 10 seconds, and I'm saying, why are you guys talking about John Candy right now? We got to go all the way downfield to win this Super Bowl. But what Joe Montana was saying, we have done this. We got this. And let's go get it. And we moved the ball all the way downfield to win that Super Bowl 23.
Wouldn't H. Harris Barton and say, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, Harris was a people person. And I thought he would appreciate.
This is our tackle.
Like all through the week, he would come back and tell you how excited he was about what celebrity he saw. And so TV timeouts are forever in the Super Bowl, so we're standing there, and he just happened to be framed between two of the guy's shoulder pads. And I met John a number of years before. He was trying to get me to go to Toronto to join the Argonauts and leave San Francisco. So I knew it was him, and I thought, Harris, I don't remember him saying he saw John Candy, so I thought he would appreciate it. He started mumbling something crazy about Super Bowl, and I don't know, most of it was incoherent. He appreciates it, I think, today more than he did back then.
But I'm like, are you serious right now, John Candy?
All right, in a word.
Okay.
We got a minute, 20 seconds. I'll give 60 seconds for each of you guys. Talk to me about family, how important it is. I had your son last couple of weeks. USC, Brendan's did a great job in receiving for USC. Family's important to you. Tell us why and Joe, get back.
Well, family is everything for me, and that's the purpose of me playing professional football, because I told my parents, I said, look, if I ever make it to the NFL, the first thing I'm going to do is buy a home for you guys. And that was what I was able to do. And with my kids, I don't try to give my kids everything. I try to make them work for it. I have a son that plays for USC. I I try to keep him grounded. You know, with the NILs and all that stuff, he feels like he should be making 7 digits right now before, you know, going.
He's making more than Jerry, for sure.
But you know, family is everything to me, and I think that's the reason why I was able to go out and perform at a very
30 seconds.
Yeah, for me, like I said earlier, it's part of the reason for retiring. I grew up in a small town outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and steel mills on the coal mine in our town. And it was a way to get out of the lifestyle that my parents saw. They couldn't afford to send me to Notre Dame, so sports was that way out. And the family, as I grew, I missed as I was playing the game a lot. So I tried to give back as much as I could to them. I have 3 grandkids right now that just loving spending the time with them, and we have to take a lot of family vacations together still at this point in time, and you know, to try to give them an opportunity in life that you didn't have.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Rice. You want to say something else?
No, you gotta sing something. What? I don't care what it is, but you got to sing something. Give me something. Give me something. Just real quick. Real quick.
Tevin Campbell?
Yeah.
Can we talk for a minute? Girl, I want to know your name. Can we talk for a minute? Girl,